The discussion continues on infrastructure developments in Nigeria. Channels Television's data and information analyst Babajide Ogunsanwo joins me now for more on this. Thank you for joining us on the news at 10. And what a meal you have brought tonight.
Oh yes, it's a good place to kick off from in terms of infrastructure, and that's because it's over 20 centuries ago, an event occurred that most historians refer to as the most significant investment on infrastructure. And that had to do with an event where 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish was collected from a young boy, and it was multiplied to feed over 5,000. Now here's what most historians say. They say that was the birth of stomach infrastructure. Now here's why stomach infrastructure is the most important thing in Nigeria today, and it's because the NBS says 64% of people's expenditure goes to food. So clearly stomach infrastructure, which in simple terms is called basic infrastructure, is what is most important to Nigerians today, and to ensure that the cost of the stomach infrastructure, which economists often use the word inflation, is often tamed. And if we look at what is going on right now, especially the information we had in the last 24 hours, year-on-year inflation is 18.5%. Now, if you don't like to use the year-on-year inflation, and you look at the 12-month moving average, that's 15.7%. So in simple terms, the cost of stomach infrastructure to Nigerians right now is rising. Now, there are 2 other infrastructures that are also very important, and now that's the physical infrastructure. And regarding physical infrastructure, transportation comes in as very, very important. And the reason why transportation is also important is because Nigerians, based on the evidence we have today, spend more money on transportation than they spend on education and health combined. Now, the third important thing as well is the infrastructure of the mind. Now, that's what Mahatma Gandhi calls the infrastructure that is most important, because the infrastructure of the mind allows us to see how people are thinking. And right now, based on the evidence again that we have, Amara, 93% of Nigerians say they are poor, and that shows clearly how Nigerians are thinking.
I have more questions on the bread and the fish, but I'll save that for later or after. Let's talk about the Ministry of Works, Power and Housing, which has over 500 billion naira in the 2017 federal government budget. It's supposed to create a significant impact on infrastructure development. So what should be the first target?
Will it create a significant impact? Yes, I think it will create a significant impact. But the thing we really need to ask ourselves is, yes, we call it the Ministry of Works, Power and Housing, but is it really the Ministry of Works, Power and Housing? So let's look at what's happened, especially when we look at where we're coming from. We had a 422 billion capital approval for that same ministry, Works, Power and Housing. However, 67% of that capital amount goes to roads. So should we really call it a Ministry of Works, Power and Housing, or should we call it a Ministry of Roads? It is very likely that in the 2017 budget, we'll see a lot of impact, but most of that impact again will likely be directed towards roads and ensuring that Nigerians travel safely and have a better experience and are indeed more productive based on spending less hours on the road.
Well, it sounds like you're saying that the Ministry of Works, Power and Housing is ignoring other aspects. It's focusing on works, not power, and possibly housing.
Yes, but the capital side is focused right now on roads. And is it the problem of the ministry? Perhaps not. But what is happening right now is the ministry does require so much funds for those other sectors. So works, yes, is an important part of it. It requires so much money. Roads is important, requires so much money. Transportation is important, requires so much money, even though we know the Ministry of Transportation is separate. But we clearly see that the reason why roads is taking a huge chunk of the budget of the Ministry of Works, Power and Housing is because there's insufficient funds. And going back to what you've said, what is more important for us right now is to prioritize projects to ensure that we get the most important resources going to the places that we need them to go to.
And if these resources go to the places that we need them to go to, and if the infrastructure is given priority, then it means that people will have more to spend on food and transportation.
Oh, surely, you've connected it all. People will have more to spend on food and transportation, and that's really what Nigerians are concerned about, to ensure that they have more money in their pockets to spend more on food and other basic things, rather than spending a lot of money on transportation and other things that are not classified as so basic needs to their welfare.
Okay. Babajide, thank you so much. Although I do see some things missing there on that plate. No cutlery, nothing to wash down this meal that you have set before us.
All that is luxury right now to Nigerians. Most important thing is to just get your hands on the food and get well fed.
Thank you once again for joining us on the news at 10.